After a week of deliberations, a jury returned a guilty verdict on 5 of 6 counts against Ghislaine Maxwell, including the most serious sex trafficking charge that can carry up to 40 years in prison as a penalty. Judge Nathan did not set a sentencing date, but that'll be set in the future, and there'll definitely be a sentencing. For a time, the defense lawyers for Ghislaine Maxwell seemed very happy that the jury was taking so long to deliberate. Often that gives the defense hope, because there's a feeling that there's conflict in the jury and maybe they won't convict. But 9 times out of 10 in these federal courthouses behind me, they get convicted. Pretty much almost every defendant. And often the best defense lawyers can hope for is a hung jury, a deadlock jury, chance at another trial. In this instance, the jury continued throughout really a week and a half if you consider the break for the holiday, and methodically moved along, never showed a sign that they had real conflict amongst themselves. But they deliberately went through the evidence piece by piece, and in the end came back with a guilty verdict. She was acquitted of count 2, which is enticing a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts. Carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. But it was really one of the lighter charges compared to the other 5 that carry the potential for a much longer prison term, and the possibility she could, at age 60, be spending the rest of her life in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell is a British socialite who in the early 1990s began dating Jeffrey Epstein. And for a 10-year period, prosecutors say, from 1994 to 2004, she would recruit and then groom these teenage girls to be sexually attacked, essentially, by Jeffrey Epstein. And that's what prosecutors alleged. The defense said that's not really the case, that she was made into a scapegoat after Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in a federal jail just half a block from here in 2019, and that they wanted to go get somebody, so they went after her. She always maintained that she was never involved in any sexual attacks against the teenagers, and that she was swept up unfairly in this. And for a time it looked like defense lawyers were making headway. It looked like the jury might be seeing some of their arguments. The deliberations went on for a week. The judge was getting worried that COVID was spreading so quickly through New York City that it might reach some of the jurors and it might cause a mistrial. So the judge was told them today that they would have to work New Year's Eve and New Year's. By the end of the day, the jury delivered a verdict. Guilty.